Hey guys, this is Kathleen at my Alabama Farm Life, and I finally have my truck back. I am so pleased to have it back. I have not been able to um, auto start my truck in months, but now it works. The engine light is gone. Almost all the service lights are gone. I just have the one service light, and I'll show you. Now, my mechanics, Cayden and Jackson, oh gosh, these guys are just wonderful young men who have started their own business recently, and they did an excellent job on my truck. So, you guys buckle in, and I'm going to tell you a little story about what happened. So I was getting desperate. I didn't know what to do for my truck. It was throwing lights all over the place. I had already taken it to the Tuscaloosa dealership, and they ended up charging me, goodness, about $3,000 for regular maintenance. Now, I originally took the truck in because I had tainted DEF in the truck, and I knew it was tainted because I put it in there. I knew that it was over a year old, and it had a kind of ammonia smell to it. But I didn't know that there was such a thing as contaminated DEF. And of course, after I put it into my truck and my truck started to not burn the DEF like it was supposed to, I did the research then and found out that DEF goes bad. So for your information, and if you have a diesel truck and you have to use DEF, DEF does go bad. It has to be in a place where the temperatures don't go back and forth. It needs to be in a stable and secure place. And after about a year, it does go bad. So, little tip on DEF. But again, when I took it to Tuscaloosa and told them that I had contaminated DEF, they told me that wasn't the problem. And we went back and forth, and they said that their little computer wasn't indicating that was what it was. And I'm like, okay, fine. And so then they ended up talking me into a lot of other things that needed to be fixed. And I say they talked me into it. I probably could have gone without some of the things that they did, but they ended up putting on new brakes and new rotors and everything, and I needed that. They did a radiator flush, but that's probably one of the services that I also needed to have done. This thing has 177,000 miles on it, and so it was due. There was a couple of other things that they did, but I don't have the paperwork in front of me. And after they had had my truck for a month, they finally called me and told me that my DEF was contaminated, which I told them when I brought it in. But, you know, mechanics are mechanics. And sometimes you get bad ones. And all I have to say is if you have a diesel truck and you live in the Northport, Tuscaloosa area, do not take it to the Tuscaloosa dealership, because their mechanic, he's not a good diesel mechanic. Now, if you want to go get your oil changed or, you know, just basic maintenance, sure, go for it. If you have to take it in to get the updated recalls, sure, you got to take it in. But if you can find a better mechanic in your area to do those things, you might as well. You might as well just take it someplace else or find another mechanic. I would encourage you guys to go look up my mechanics. These guys are great. It's Crawford Diesel Performance, and they're over in Northport, right behind the Publix. I think it's called Cross Creek, but I'll have to look it up. If it's not Cross Creek, I'll put it down there on the bottom. They are behind the Publix that's closest to me, which is about 10 minutes away. So, which is just so awesome. I am so, so thankful that I found these guys. It was a blessing. It truly was a blessing, because I was to the point where I needed a good mechanic, and I found them. I was on Google, I was on my phone looking, and the map popped up, and I was looking around the map for my area, and I saw Crawford Diesel Performance, and I'm like, oh my goodness, these guys are right here, they're right here, right when I needed them. God gave me good mechanics when I was absolutely at my wit's end with this truck. And I have to say, praise God for putting these two young men in my path. Oh, goodness. They are brand new business. They've only been going for, I think they started up, I think he told me in April of this year they started the business. And they're busy, but they could be busier, especially after everything that they did for me and this truck. They have made it worth keeping. And I know I'm probably going to have more problems with this truck, because I have another open recall, and I'm not taking it back to the dealership. In fact, when I go back, I'm going to go back this week, or Monday or Tuesday, because they're going to put my running boards back on. They had to take the running board off on the passenger side, and he forgot to put it back on. And I asked him, it's like, I have the other one at the house. I'll bring it to you, and can you put them both back on? And he said, yeah, bring it to me and I will put them both back on. So I'm going to go talk to him, or I'm going to bring the truck back to them, and they're going to do that for me, which will be great, to having running boards, because I've been crawling up into this truck forever. But again, Cayden and Jackson at Crawford Diesel Performance here in Northport. I'm going to put their Facebook up here somewhere so you can see it and see their phone number if you're in our area. And goodness, I cannot thank God enough for putting these two young men in my life, and helping me be able to keep my truck and use my truck, because I just cannot afford to go buy a new vehicle and have a payment. Trucks right now are just incredibly expensive. It's just amazing how expensive they are. And, I don't have any car payments, and I want to keep it that way. So, yes, they fixed it. Everything except for the ABS. I need a new module, but that's going to cost me $1,200 to fix. And that's going to have to wait till after Christmas, because I have a few Christmas presents that I need to buy. So that'll be fixed on another day. As I was saying about the dealership in Tuscaloosa, just to finish up this little story, when I finally got my truck back, which was after a month, I dropped it off, went to Hawaii, came back. I ended up going to, I think, Oklahoma, and I had to drive the Honda because the truck still wasn't ready. I came back from Oklahoma, and they finally let me come pick up my truck. They sent me away with all the lights still on, all the lights. And I'll show you the lights from my previous video here. And today we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about my truck. I own a 2014 Dodge Ram Ecodiesel, and it is throwing codes all over the place. I had it at the dealership in April, and they told me that they didn't know what was wrong with it. They couldn't figure it out. I guess they reset the engine light and then sent me home with it, and now it is throwing errors all over the place. I think what they did was they just reset the engine light, and I wasn't even halfway home and the engine light came back on. But they sent me home telling me that they did not know what was wrong with this truck. Only problem is that they do know what is wrong with this truck, and they do know what the fix is. Unfortunately, they are unable to perform that, and they're not going to tell you as a customer what you need to do to fix this. And because of circumstances, I cannot even tell you what I have done to fix my truck. Just know that my truck is fixed. It was not cheap. In the last several months, I've ended up spending over $6,000 on this truck to keep it up and running. I could have saved myself $3,000 by going to Crawford Diesel instead of to Tuscaloosa. But again, you know, hindsight. I appreciate these gentlemen so much more. I was telling Jackson the problems with the car. The back tail light keeps going out, but I replace it. I put more of the grease on the light, and then it works for a long time. And then after a while, I guess when the grease dries up, the lights start going out again. I told him about all the trailer brake and the ABS and everything. It did end up being a module, like I told you earlier. But he actually got up under the truck when they had it up on the lift, and he found where the lights had come unhooked, and he plugged it back in, and he said all the lights went off except for the ABS. But again, that's the module. So something I'll get fixed next year. They gave me an oil change. What else? And I think that was it. He took it, had the AC, sent it to the AC shop because it needed more of whatever the Freon, it's not Freon anymore, but the Freon replacement substance for my truck, it needed to be filled up. So we got that done too. Overall, it cost me over $3,000, but it's done. Everything works on it. The guys reassured me that it ran great. I drove it home. It's awesome. I am so happy to be back in my truck. You really don't know how much you need a truck until you don't have it. So yeah, I am so thankful. So in my first video, the question was, is it worth it? At this point in time, yes, it was worth spending the money to get this truck fixed. Again, I don't want to have to go out and buy something new or even new used. Trucks are just really expensive right now, and I don't want a car payment, and I don't want an increased insurance premium. So yeah, guys, God has blessed me. I have great mechanics now. Again, I cannot shout them out enough. If you are in the Northport, Tuscaloosa area, or any of the small towns around here, and you need a good mechanic, a good diesel mechanic, go see Cayden and Jackson. Go see those young men. They could use the business. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up and just say, thank you, God. You have blessed me abundantly. And so now I need to go to work. I got my truck back, and there are a ton of things that I need to do. So you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you on my next video.